it's a combination of values, commitment, seriously hard work plus delivery. And I think those were the things. It wasn't that we just had Stalin's Russia had a glorious constitution. Uganda under Idi Amin had a glorious constitution. Their glorious constitutions dotted throughout history since the late 18th century. But you've got to match the glories of your constitution's verbiage with actual results.
As I'm concerned, the Constitution Court and Constitution Hill as a sort of a brand, I think is one of the strongest that we have in South Africa, especially if we look at other sort of governmental organizations. It's one of the few brands that sort of people still hold with a high esteem. And you were very much involved in the sort of conceptualizing and setting up of that. So I'd love you to talk a little bit about that.
Any public institution has a brand and is a brand. And I've been thinking about that since our preparatory talk last week and the preceding talks before that. I think with the Constitutional Court, of necessity, all brands have to be rooted in substance. You can get away with a lot in marketing and commercialization and sales, but in something like product delivery in a legal setting, it's got to be rooted in substance. And the angles of substance, the aspects of substance that I've been thinking of are obviously integrity. You can't pull a fast one in a judging forum, because your reasons have to be given, they have to be transparent, and they have to be coherent, and they subjected to very, very rigorous scrutiny. And then what are the values that you are exercising? This is all going to start off being abstract, Ross, but we'll get into nitty-gritty if we get there. What are those values? And I think they're obviously the values of the Constitution. The Constitution has a lavish and generous set of values, which I think can be summarized as human solidarity, as obviously consistency in terms of the rule of law, rationality and civility. Again, very abstract thoughts, but it comes down to the promise of human dignity. It comes down to the promise of equality, which we are very far from fulfilling. And it comes down, very importantly, we are recording 10 days after the mass eruption of terrible violence and disorder and insurrection. It comes down to our failed promise of providing everyone with the minimum needs of life.
If we look kind of globally, I would say that the level of trust in government institutions is probably the lowest that it's been in a long time. Like, people don't trust the information that's coming from government. If we look locally, like the any kind of state-owned entity, people, even if they're doing the best work on earth, people just don't believe in them. They don't trust them. They don't like them. They don't have a positive kind of view on it. But then when I come back to the courts, the Constitution Court, it's something that almost everyone I speak to in South Africa still feels like they can trust it, and that it's something that's got value, whether they agree with what's happening there or not. It doesn't have the same, hasn't been put in the same box as most of the other departments locally. And if I look globally, even a lot of the kind of things there. What do you think the South African Constitution Court did that's so different to all of these other entities that's allowed people to keep them in a kind of positive space, in a positive light?
I think commitment to values that had authenticity and integrity. Practically, this is not a feel-good issue, authenticity and integrity. It's, do these values in practical realization have authenticity and integrity? And I think they do. And then delivering. I think the Constitutional Court's processes were reasonably efficient. They haven't always been efficient. Sometimes there's been very long delays. So I think it's a combination of values, commitment, seriously hard work, plus delivery. And I think those were the things. It wasn't that we just had Stalin's Russia had a glorious constitution. Uganda under Idi Amin had a glorious constitution. Their glorious constitutions dotted throughout history since the late 18th century. But you've got to match the glories of your constitution's verbiage with actual results.
It's saying you have integrity, or saying that you put people first, or saying any of these kind of things that you'll find in so many companies is one thing. Actually, when you look at the behavior and the delivery that happens, like do those thoughts or those concepts come to life, I think is so huge. And we live in a time where I think people are getting more and more jaded and more cynical, but that means they're being more critical of the statements that companies are making. I mean, we can see Jeff Bezos is currently being dragged through the mud because he thanked everyone for sending him to space, and then his workers are turning around going, yeah, well, we did that because you didn't give us any healthcare or any decent salaries, or so I think the kind of reflection of people is much stronger, and I think that's definitely a lesson for people. Other one that you said there, which is so important, is the delivery. It doesn't matter, like if you've got this amazing message and these amazing marketing collateral and all of this stuff, if you don't actually do the thing that you said you would do, it all fails. And it's probably even better to have a bad constitution and deliver well than it is to have a great constitution and deliver poorly. That's probably more value for the average citizen than the other way around. Hello YouTube, I'm Ross Drakes. I'm the founder of Nicework, and thank you so much for your time at watching this video. If you're seeing me, it means you made it all the way to the end, so we've at least done something right. If you enjoyed this, we'd love it if you could hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And I think more important than that is if you know someone who might need to hear this, if you think someone out there who needs this message in their life, please spread the link, because it makes a huge difference to the world, and it allows us to fulfill our message of making sure that there are no more bad brands in the world. Thank you very much, and we'll catch you in the next video.